All right, so let's try to knock out a few more of these. Let's go. Okay, at this point, you should have 3 parts done, and they should all be different tabs down here in on the bottom here. And we're going to keep all of the letters of the green sheet in one document to keep them organized. Okay, so let's go in increasing difficulty. Okay, I think D is probably the next one. And this we're going to do all in one move, technically 2 moves, but we're going to create our full block by doing a rectangle that is the maximum height and the maximum width, and extrude it the maximum depth. And that will give us our block of marble to cut away. And then once we have that, we're going to do a single sketch on the front and draw 3 separate rectangles that are this big and cut extrude all of them. They're all pretty much, or at least these 2 rectangles are going to be the same as what we did for part C, where it snaps to the top corner to make sure that we get the correct location. This one needs another dimension besides just its height and width. It needs its distance from the side. And you'll know this because when we get to it, it will still be blue, which is your big hint. Okay, so we need to do a new create part studio. And I'm going to do full screen. Let's put this over here. And let's, too soon. We've got.
I move like up a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't even see the board.
Sit where thou willst.
That's Matthew.
Were you here last time?
Yeah.
Excellent. Green sheets are up front. Okay, so we need to figure out what the maximum dimensions are for this. If you count all the way across the bottom, it is 8 blocks wide. Excuse me. And the total height, it's a little tricky. There are not a lot of occasions on the sheet that use half blocks. This is actually 2.5 here and 2.5 here, which is a total of 5. You can also count from this bottom edge to this top edge. That's also 5. So we need a rectangle that's 8 by 5. And then our extrusion is also going to be 5. So it's 8 by 5 by 5 is the size of our cube. We're going to create a sketch. Might as well sketch on the front. Doesn't really matter. We can turn on, let's go ahead and do our first rectangle. We're doing 2-dimensional views or 2-dimensional parts. So let's look at it straight on from the front. Get a rectangle that snaps to this corner, snaps to the origin so that it's constrained at some way. And we need the dimension tool. Click once there, move over, click again. Fortunately, I don't have my application that shows the clicks, but you're just gonna have to figure it out. It's 5 tall, and we can zoom out a little bit. And the width is 8. Okay, we can finish the sketch. What's up? So once we have this, we are going to do our extrusion, which is a 3D view or a 3D part feature, which means we need to look at it from a 3D view. We can also turn off the visibility of the origin point and its 3 planes. And so now we can extrude. We have to choose what we want to extrude. So we click on that, and our extrusion width from before, 5. Hit OK. All right, so now we just need the dimensions of the cutaways. which this one that snaps to the top corner is 2.5 tall and 2 wide. And the same thing over here, 2.5 tall and 2 wide. And actually, I'm going to do this in 3 steps. I'm going to take care of both of those and then come back for the last one. So in order to do a new extrusion, we need a new sketch. And we want to sketch on the front face. Look at it straight on. And we want a rectangle, making sure to snap to this top corner. And go down and in, and we can actually make both rectangles and then dimension both of them. Get the dimension tool. The height of both of them were 2.5. The width is 2. Same thing over here, 2.5 and 2, excuse me, 2. Then we can finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose our rectangles, which you can't really see with the lighting, but we want to remove, and we want to remove, change blind to through all. Those cuts go all the way through. We could cut 5, and I showed this before with part C, how the difference between through all and just putting a number big enough doesn't really matter, but yeah, there you go. All right, so the last part feature is this cut underneath here, which is another rectangle that we're going to draw on the front that's 1 inch tall and 6 inches wide. But if we just make a rectangle there that's 1 by 6, it won't be fully constrained. We need to make sure that it's 1 inch from the side also. So let's put a sketch on the front, look at it straight on, get a rectangle, make sure to snap it to the bottom edge. You can see how the bottom edge lights up before you click, but do not snap it to the corner or snap it to the exact center point. You will get snaps there, but we don't want that in this case. Because if you do that snap, it won't let you change its location. Sometimes you do want that, saves time, but here we just want the bottom edge. Okay, so we'll make a rectangle that is that big, and we'll dimension it. We know that it is 6 wide and 1 tall. And you can see that it's still blue. And the reason why it's still blue is because we haven't constrained it left to right. So we need the dimension tool again. And here, this is going to be a 3-click dimension. Okay, first click is on this line, but we don't want the height again. We want to know the distance from this line to the side of everything. So we click there and then click in between or out of the way. And that needs to be 1 also. Okay, it's the only way to get a, well, I guess there's other ways, like a line or something like that. But that is the way to get the distance from the side of our new rectangle to the side of everything is first click there, second click there, and then third click to set it. And we'll hit OK, and we'll look at it. I mean, you can kind of see the rectangle. The lighting's bad. We'll go to extrude, choose the rectangle we just made, switch it to remove, and through all. Okay, and that is part B. Let's go ahead and name it such. Okay, let's pick another one. I think at this point, let's just go through all the ones we haven't done in order. It'll be easier to keep track of things. All right, part A. Well, let's go ahead and do a new part studio. And we can go ahead and right click rename already before we even start. Part A. I do not. Sorry. So name it part A, and there's no reason not to keep these in order. Okay, part A. And what do we need for this? Well, we're going to do the same thing where we start with a big chunk and cut away what we don't want. Here we have a total height of 5. We have a total width of 8. So we're going to start with a rectangle that's 8 by 5 and then extrude it 5. Is that right? Yeah. 8 by 5 by 5, which is actually the same size as the other one, but that's fine. So we'll start a sketch on the front face. We're sketching. Let's look at it straight on. Rectangle that is dimension 8 wide and 5 tall. And look at it from a corner, finish the sketch. You can turn off the origin, planes, and points. And we can extrude this face or that sketch and extrude it a distance of 5. Hit OK. Okay, so there's our chunk of marble. Let's cut away what we don't want. You actually need to do this in 3 different cuts. Okay, the first one we're going to do is make a rectangle here. In fact, let's do like this. I think this will work better. Yeah. Close this a little bit. Go like this. There we go. Okay, we're going to do a rectangle here that's 3 tall and 6 wide and snaps to this corner. That's 6 wide that way, 3 tall that way. And then cut extrude all the way back. And that will leave us with this sort of L shape. And then the other 2, well, we'll just do one at a time. So this is going to be a 3 by 6. Let's start with a sketch on the front face. Look at it straight on. Get a rectangle from the top right corner. And dimension that to 3 by 6. And finish sketch. Look at it from a corner, extrude, choose the rectangle you just made, switch it to remove, and remove through all. There we go. Okay, so the next one, let's go like this and like that. Okay, the next one, let's do this one up here, which, why does it keep doing that? There we go. Let's cut out this right here. We're going to put a sketch on the, well, this face right here, this right facing face. That is the shape of that, which is 1 tall and 3 wide. But this is just like the under part of part B, where we still, after we make our rectangle the right size, we still need to dimension its distance from here. So we'll do that. So it's 1 by 3 with an offset of 1. So let's start a sketch on this face. Look at it from the right. Rectangle, the same as before. We want to make sure that it snaps to the top edge, but not to the corner and not to the exact center point. Somewhere on the top edge, make it look about like that. We need dimension. The width is, come on now. Dimension. Why is it not letting me do that? Am I snapping to the wrong thing? Oh, I have no idea why it wasn't letting me. Okay, dimension, this, the width is 3, and the height is 1. Okay, and you can see we're still not fully constrained. It still has blue lines. That's because we need to dimension the distance between this line, first click, the edge of everything, second click, third click in the middle, set that to 1, and finish the sketch. See where we are. Extrude, choose this, switch it to remove, and through all. Okay, and yeah, the last part feature is this bit right here, which in order to do that, you'll notice some of the directions are, or some of the dimensions are going to be half dimensions, to be aware. So we're going to make a rectangle that is this shape. Ignore that orange rectangle. That's this shape. And the easiest way to do this is actually to just dimension what we want to keep on all three sides, which is 1.5 here, 2 from there, and 1.5 here. So long as we snap the first edge to the edge of everything. I mean, you could make this rectangle 4 this way, and it's actually 2 inches this way because it's half, and then 1, and then another half going this way. But I think it's easier to see just what needs to be left. 1.5, 1.5 there, and 2 there. So let's put a sketch on the top facing face and look at it from top down and get a rectangle. Same as before, we want it to snap to this right edge, but not the corner and not the center point, which we will later, but not now. Just the edge, and make it look about right. And all 3 of these dimensions that we put in are going to be the 3-click type, where we click 1 on the line, 1 on the top of everything, and then in between, and that needs to be 1.5. Do the same thing over here, from here to here, 1.5, and from here to here is 2. And we'll finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose this, switch it to remove, and remove through all. There you go, part A. We've already done C and D. Let's go down to part E. Okay, part E is even easier than part A, sort of. So we need a new part studio, and it's right here. Let's go ahead and rename it part E. And there's no reason not to organize. All right, so let's look at our maximum dimensions. Okay, it's kind of tricky to figure out total height when the first height is out here in the front, and the second portion of height is back here. You kind of just have to be able to look at it. You can add them together. You know, this is 2 and this is 3. This is the bottom edge and this is the top edge. So you know it's 2 and 3 is 5. Or you can look here on the back edge is 5. You're just going to have to figure that out. Or listen, I'm telling you. It's 5 tall, and the total width is 8, 2, 4, and 2. So it's 5 by 8, and we're extruding it 5 again. So another 5 by 8 by 5. Sketch, front plane, look at it straight on, rectangle. Might as well snap it to the origin, it helps out later. And dimension the width to 8, and the height to 5. We can zoom out, finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, turn off the origin point and origin planes, extrude, choose it, and extrude at 5. You've seen that 3 times already today with those specific dimensions. Okay, a couple ways to do this. The way that I think makes the most sense is to cut out the portion that is going across the front. Like in order to make it this sort of L shape, we need to put a rectangle here and then cut all the way across. And that leaves us with the L all the way across. And the size of this rectangle, which you can kind of figure out by what's left, is going to be 3 wide and 3 tall. And this rectangle needs to snap to this point. So, and then we'll go down 3 and in 3 and make our rectangle. This is all on the right side of everything, and then cut extrude all the way across. So 3 by 3 on the right side, new sketch, right side, look at it from the right, rectangle, top left corner. We do want to snap it to the corner so that we get all of it. And dimension the height to 3 and the width to 3. Finish sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose the rectangle we just drew, switch to remove, and remove all. There we go. Okay, the next portion, or the only other portion, is this sort of undercut situation, undercarriagey type of thing. And you have to realize that this is a height of 2, but the cut goes even higher than that. So the shape of the rectangle we need to draw is 3 tall and cut it all the way back. So when you're making your rectangle, which obviously snaps to the bottom edge, you need to make sure that it goes higher than this first ledge, because if you snap it to this first ledge, like you just make your rectangle too tall and it snaps to here, you won't be able to change the height. You'll just have to undo and do it correctly. So we want a rectangle that's actually 3 tall to accommodate that. It's 4 wide, so a 3x4 rectangle that snaps to the bottom edge and has an offset of 2. So we'll sketch, and we're going to sketch on this face right here, this bottom front-facing toe kick kind of face. We'll look at it straight on, and we'll get a rectangle. Make sure we snap it to the bottom edge, not the corner and not the center. First click and second click needs to be not on this first ledge, like I said, just somewhere like that. And dimension the width to 4, the height to 3, and the offset, the distance between the left side of the rectangle and the left side of everything, is 2. Finish sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose, I guess it's making you choose both areas. Switch to remove and remove through all. There you go. Part E. What time is it? Excellent. I think we can probably get 2 more done. The problem is the people who are relying on recordings might, yeah, I think we can do 2 more. So let's do part F and G, which are completely different strategies. Part F is similar to what we've been doing so far, and G is actually different. So let's get a new part studio. And we are right here. Let's go ahead and rename this part F. And let's take a look at what we got. We've got a, well, let's figure out our maximum dimensions. We've got 8 wide. It's actually 6 tall, 2 and 4. So our first rectangle is going to be 8x6. And our depth extrusion is 5. So 8x6x5. Okay, so sketch, front plane, straight on, rectangle from the origin, and dimension, width to 8, height to 6. Finish sketch, look at it from a corner, turn off the origin visibilities, and let's extrude it. What did I say? 5. All right, so we have a similar process as the last one. Let's take care of the L shape portion. So we're going to draw a rectangle of what we want to get rid of and cut extrude all the way across. And this rectangle is 2 wide, 4 tall, and is going to snap to the top corner here so that it will look like this. Okay, so it's going to be 4 tall and 2 wide, drawing all on the right face. So new sketch, right face, got it straight on, rectangle, about the right size is fine. Dimension, width is 2, height is 4. Finish sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose the shape we just drew, remove through all. And I feel like I did something wrong already. Nope, that's right. I think so that means that's 3. Okay, that's 3. That's right. Just looks weird. Anyway, so the only other feature is the sort of seat thing, which is going to be like anything else that we draw. We'll put a sketch on the forward facing face that is a height of 3 and a width of 4, but then we're going to cut extrude it only 1.5 towards the back. Yeah, so there's that. Let's go ahead and do a new sketch on the front face. Look at it straight on. Rectangle that starts on the top edge, but not the corner or the center. Dimension that new rectangle to 3 tall, 4 wide. And the distance from the side of the rectangle to the side of everything is 2. We'll finish sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose that, switch it to remove, and the distance we want to remove is 1.5. Hit OK. There you go, part F. Okay, last one for today is going to be part G. And part G is different. Let's go ahead and just start a new one. New, create part studio. Right click to rename. Part G. And let's look at this. So it's a little different, or at least the way we're going to do it is different. We're going to do this in 3 separate extrusions without cutting anything. Okay, we're going to make a rectangle that is 2 by 3 and extrude it back, which will give us essentially this thing, but over there. Then on the side, we're going to draw a rectangle that's 6 tall and 3 wide and extrude it this way. Then we're going to make another rectangle that is 3 tall and 5 wide and extrude it this way. So we're going to keep building the blocks to the right. In fact, let's just go ahead and sketch on the right face and just make the 3 by 5 extruded 2. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're starting out with a new sketch on the front face. Look at it straight on, rectangle that is like that, and it's going to be 2 wide and 3 tall. Finish sketch, corner, origin faces and planes, and extrude this. Nope, extrude it a distance of 5. Okay, and that gives us our first chunk. This sort of arm over there. Now we're going to sketch on this face and draw a rectangle that is the height of this, which is 6, and the width of this starting from this corner. So it's going to be 6 tall and 3 sort of deep because we're looking at it from the side. So it's going to be like that. And then we're going to extrude that out 4. Okay, you got to pick the right face for this one to work. So we're going to sketch on this face. We can look at it from the right face, and get a rectangle, snap it to this corner right here, because just because that's where it needs to go. And from there, we want to go above everything and not quite to the left, just something like that. Oh wait, I need to mention it. dimension everything. And dimension the height of this to 6 and the width of this to 3. Finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose everything you just drew. It really shouldn't divide it, but that's fine. And the distance we want to extrude it is 4. There you go. You can kind of see where we're going with this. We're building it left to right. And then the other side is we're going to draw our sketch on the right side of the new portion. And that is going to be this dimension, 3 tall and 5 wide, starting from its bottom right corner, 3 tall and 5 wide. Looks like that. And then we'll extrude it out the width of this, which is 2. Okay, sketch on the right. Rectangle, snap to this bottom right corner. Go up, just make sure you're not snapping to any one of the other lines. In fact, you can just make it bigger than everything, doesn't really matter, because the dimensioning is going to constrain it as well as redefine it. Okay, 5 wide and 3 tall. And finish sketch, look at it from a corner, extrude, choose the things that we just made. And this also is an extrusion of 2. Check mark, and there we go, part G. And that is going to be the end of new instruction for today. The video should be up in the next, I don't know, 15 minutes.